Our most important free agent has spoken out on the state of his contract extension talks, and they reveal a terrifying trend that all Dallas Cowboy fans need to be afraid of, and we're going to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Cowboys Football 365. If you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, please hit that subscribe button. Only 3.2% of viewers are subscribed to the channel, and I would really appreciate it. But getting into the news for today, coming from the Dallas Cowboys themselves, DallasCowboys.com. Through 10 games this season, Cowboys wide receiver George Pickens is second in the NFL in receiving yards with 908 and tied for third in receiving touchdowns with 7. He has been everything that the Dallas Cowboys hoped he would be when they traded for him in the offseason, and then some. Once the 2025 season concludes, Pickens becomes a free agent. The Cowboys will have to make a decision on whether or not they want to bring him back. Pickens has said in the past that he wouldn't mind staying with the Dallas Cowboys long-term and added to that sentiment on Thursdays. He said, "I'd love to be back with the bro, especially Ceedee Lamb and Dak Precott. All of the guys, really. I'll have to wait probably until that comes. I can't see in the future, so I'll have to wait until it gets here." Now, George Pickens has been a revelation for the Dallas Cowboys this year, ever since we traded a third-round pick and swapped day 3 picks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. George Pickens has had an absolutely breakout season in his contract year. He's still on his rookie contract, finally up for a new contract. The 2022 second-round pick is looking to make some money this offseason, and he deserves to make that money. I want to put his stats on the screen one more time. 10 games, 908 yards, which is second in the NFL, 7 touchdowns, which is third in the NFL. I mean, the dude is just lighting up the scoreboard right now. Part of it's Dak Prescott is playing like a healthy Dak Prescott does, which is amazing. And a lot of it is George Pickens, who's always been a highly talented wide receiver. The production is finally matching the talent. He was drafted in the second round in 2022 out of the University of Georgia, and he had a whole lot of off the field persona to him. Like, he had a little bit of attitude, a little bit of a diva mentality, which comes with a lot of the good wide receivers. But George Pickens is making a case to be re-signed by the Dallas Cowboys. We have heard that there's a high likelihood of the franchise tag coming his way, but there are a whole lot of reasons why George Pickens would be signed long-term with this team. First of all, we have almost nothing at the wide receiver position after him. Ryan Flournoy, he's a really fun story. If you're a Cowboy fan, you got to love the story of Ryan Flournoy. And Kevontae Turpin is a great little, little chess piece, I don't want to call him a weapon, but he's a gadget guy. There we go. That's a great term. Gadget guy is Kevontae Turpin. He's not a full-time wide receiver threat, but we certainly need more help at the wide receiver position. So the question is, do you extend George Pickens long-term? Now, if we look at where his contract should fall, SpotTrack, a website that looks at historical data, combines that with current stats, and uses a mathematical formula to project contracts going forward for NFL and NBA players, has projected, should George Pickens hit the open market, he will command around $32 million per year. That is a contract comparable to the New York Jets' Garrett Wilson, the Pittsburgh Steelers' DK Metcalf, and the Philadelphia Eagles' A.J. Brown. The reason why, actually, you know what? We're going to save the reason why AJB makes as little money as he does. Let's talk about the other two guys. So DK Metcalf and Garrett Wilson both extended recently. Last offseason where those guys extended. The market for guys getting extended, it gets higher and higher every single year. The same stats will get you more and more money because, one, everyone is always trying to one-up the guy from last year, and two, the salary cap goes up every single season, and players want to hang around the same percentage of the team's salary cap. So when the cap goes up, the amount of money that any given player can go up at the same time. So that's why they would get more and more money. But the right idea for Jerry Jones is to talk to George Pickens, and if the plan is to extend him before he reaches the open market, because once he gets to the open market, not only are we allowed to talk to him, other quarterback needy teams potentially with more cap space can go talk to him, like the New York Jets, who have a ton of cap space now. They gave us Quinnen Williams and got rid of Sauce Gardner. The Buffalo Bills, who desperately need a wide receiver to help out their defending MVP quarterback Josh Allen. There are plenty of teams that would need another wide receiver. And if you are someone who wants to re-sign George Pickens, you don't want him to hit the open market. Now, me personally, I don't think it's the right idea to extend George Pickens because I keep bringing it up, and it's the right thing to bring it up. Look at the Cincinnati Bengals. And their comparisons to us, if we signed Pickens, would be uncanny. It would be offensively, great quarterback. Like Joe Burrow, obviously better than Dak Prescott, but they're both great quarterbacks. Arguably the best wide receiver one in football between Ceedee and Jamar Chase, and paid top of the line is that wide receiver one. Then their second wide receiver for the Bengals, T. Higgins, arguably would be a ton of teams' wide receiver one and makes a ton of money. He is just off this list at about $28 million per year, which is actually about what the franchise tag would be if George Pickens were to receive the franchise tag. But the question is, do you want to pay two wide receivers that much money when you were already paying the quarterback a record-breaking contract? Dak Prescott is the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. You were paying Jake Ferguson one of the highest paid tight end contracts in the NFL. You know who I have not mentioned paying yet? Anyone on the defense. And that's what the strategy behind the Cincinnati Bengals mastermind offensive or overall team building strategy has been. They want the offense to bail them out, and the offense was historical last season, and they didn't even make the playoffs. Why would we want to put ourselves in the exact same situation that the Cincinnati Bengals have done? I mean, I laugh at what the Cincinnati Bengals are doing because I can't understand how their decision makers can look at that and think that they're making the right decisions and actually building a team like that. I mean, that's absolutely horrible. In the beginning of this video, I talked about how what these comments from George Pickens mean. It forwards a scary trend that we've seen. And the trend that I'm talking about is Jerry Jones waiting till the last possible minutes to have contract talks with guys. We watched Ceedee Lamb go through almost the entire offseason without a contract, and then at the end, they got it done. Dak Prescott, day of, I believe it was the day of, it may have been the day before the debut. I believe it was the day of, a couple hours before our first game happened last season. Dak Prescott signed his contract. That is not how you should be signing these guys' contracts. If you're Jerry Jones, you have to be proactive. And I teased it earlier. That's why A.J. Brown is on such a cheap contract, despite being better than Garrett Wilson, despite being better than DK Metcalf. They got him for so cheap because they paid him earlier than he had to. And that's what the Philadelphia Eagles do. They pay all their guys earlier because, like I said earlier in the video, the salary cap is only going up. So pay your guys earlier and you don't have to pay them more money later. The contracts only get more and more expensive in the NFL. You have to pay your guys early. When it's obvious that they're going to need a contract extension, you want to get it done as early as possible. That's why the Jets, when Garrett Wilson still has multiple years left, they signed him because that was a smart thing to do. That's something that Jerry Jones has to learn. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? When it comes to Jerry Jones, probably not, but when we get a wide receiver too, George Pickens isn't the only option. Remember, in the offseason, you could never forget we traded Micah Parsons for 2 first-round picks, and we still have one of those first-round picks. It's going to be a late first-round pick, but the NFL draft is the perfect way, specifically the first round of the NFL draft, the perfect way to find a wide receiver too. The wide receiver two currently on the screen is Jordan Tyson out of the University of Arizona State. Out of Arizona State University. We're not going to get him with our first-round pick. It's going to be too late. Maybe a couple injuries. It would be pushed up. However, we can draft a rookie wide receiver in the first round. Will be our wide receiver two behind Ceedee Lamb. So he's not going to get the other team's number one wide receiver ever or number one cornerback ever. He's going to be, what am I trying to say here? He's going to be a lot cheaper. He's going to be under contract for 4 years with a team option. So he's going to be under contract for longer than Pickens would be. Significantly cheaper than Pickens would be. The problem is, or the question is, he will probably not be as good as Pickens, but it's not even impossible. If we look through the history of the NFL, where teams take the first round wide receiver instead of the already star wide receiver, go back a couple years, the Minnesota Vikings didn't want to pay Stephon Diggs, so they traded him to the Buffalo Bills for a random first-round pick. That random first-round pick turned into Justin Jefferson. They actually upgraded from their star receiver and got all the other pros on top. Justin Jefferson was significantly cheaper for them than Diggs would have been. He was also under contract for longer than Diggs would have been. Now, the other side of that, the Tennessee Titans did the same thing by trading away trading away A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles. They used their first-round pick on Treylon Burks. Flat out bust. The dude's ACLs are never healthy. Currently on the Washington Commanders practice squad. So, if the Dallas Cowboys were to let George Pickens walk, replace him with a first-round rookie, chances are he's going to be somewhere in the middle of horrible bust and the best wide receiver of all time. Chances are he's going to be somewhere in that range. That's what you can expect. A significantly cheaper wide receiver, someone who is bought into the organization because he would be a homegrown talent now that you are drafting him directly out of college. Schottenheimer can develop him however he sees fit. You can pair him with Dak Prescott and Ceedee Lamb, who are already locked up long-term. Pair him with Ferguson, also locked up long-term. And now that entire offense, you just trot it out every week and absolutely forget about it. You can focus the rest of the draft. You can focus the rest of your free agent money. You can focus the rest of your effort and your brain power as a general manager, if you're Jerry Jones, on filling out the defense and making the defense more talented and giving us an actual fighting chance when we have one of the top offenses in the NFL. So that's what we should be doing at the wide receiver 2 position. Not re-signing George Pickens, although just want to reiterate it. Right now, the news is saying we're going to franchise tag him. So that's a likely scenario. But don't re-sign George Pickens. Let him walk. Draft a rookie wide receiver in the first round. Maybe it's Jordan Tyson. Maybe it's someone worse. But hey, we'll figure it out. I love the NFL draft. It's my favorite day of the sports calendar every single season. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, appreciate you taking your time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And go Cowboys.